when and if you want to start to implement this more, I really would recommend you do one of these, and you do it with all of your leaders, basically a half-day theme-based church, a bigger workshop. And that really gets at some of the how-tos. And when you do that, we go over in much more detail the tips for picking an overarching theme. I've already kind of talked about this a little bit, but when you're trying to decide between a meta lesson, I mean, you have to figure out what your meta lesson is. Remember when I said Tulsa already figured theirs out because of theological literacy? And I gave a bunch of examples already. If you're a new church, you might need to have your themes fit the purposes, the principles and the sources. So that's what's tangled up in that. That doesn't have the it factor. Again, there's all this talk about reaching the nuns and the spiritual, but not religious. And sometimes we over-intellectualize reaching that group. There's a lot of things we can do to reach people who are open to our theology, but not coming to our churches, in just very simple ways. And one of these has to do not using dusty words. I just don't know how to put it any more plainly than that. And not just dusty words, but here's this last thing, and I think we really, again, I don't know how we do this. We've read all these books and studies about the nuns and the spiritual, not religious, but somehow it's not sinking into our heads, right? So part of it is the it factor, but part of it, the main thing is, they are hungry for spirituality, but spirituality that helps them with their daily living. So if your themes and your worship and your small groups are about helping them learn what Unitarian Universalism is so they can discern whether or not they want to join the club, you've missed the entire point. So it's not about what is reason or how do you think about reason. They want to know the idea of how to be a person of inquiry. They want to know, how do I be a person of intentionality and inquiry? Intentionality, let's just say, in a life that's pulling me in 1,000 different directions. You see what I mean? Like, it's different.
Yes.
They don't want to know the history on why we believe in reason, rather than, that's just not where they're at. They want help with that daily living. That's a whole other thing I could go off on more. But so this isn't just about how to have cool themes. This is about reaching populations of people that we're not reaching. And I would even argue our own people who are happy with the dusty words and do like the Unitarian Letterman's jacket, they're missing this in their lives even if they don't know it. Because there's plenty of people I know in my experience, there's a reason why out of 1,000 members we fluctuated between 450 and 600 people in these small groups. And many of those people were people who had been UUs in that congregation for 20 years, who had never been in a small group before. And even down in Canandaigua, where we had 80 people, right? 80 people, I was most proud of down there. 80, we had 80 people, and we had, this numbers are going to seem ridiculously off, 68 people in soul marriage groups. Well, because we had about 110 connected to the church. Tips for your monthly themes. These are in your packet, so I don't want to do too much here, but you have, the thing I would say about this is, do not try to pick themes without using these hoops. This gets at your question. Oh my God, sorry, Carlos, was it?
Carlos.
Yeah, this gets at your question about what do you do, won't a theme narrow you or make it too, inhibit your ability to address the issues.
Or write the sermon.
Yeah, or write the sermon. Yes, it will if you don't kind of use all these hoops. So you see what I mean? Like the theme itself may be shared, but the angle would be what would be unique. And with this one, in terms of make sure it's uniquely UU, the way we did that is this is crass, but we would double check ourselves all the time. We're like, is there one of the dusty, boring words that's connected to that? Oh, there is. Okay, that counts. Right? I mean, if you could get it connected to one of the words that we always use. You do themes within your teams, within your lay leadership professional teams, you will have that conversation. And for the first time, you will start, you will be thinking theologically. And I would argue even that's, wherever you come out on why is that, just being forced to say, we have to put it through that hoop, will just make you a better church, make you better leaders.
I remember reading somewhere that Shakespeare once described genius as the ability to see patterns or to connect things. And that's what you're asking people to do when you stay within the discipline of boundaries and go deeper, not wider.
Absolutely.
So it's very interesting.
No, you've hit it right on. So I'm not going to go over too many of these, but I did want to go the events. Take events into account, because I think you can kind of figure out what some of this means. Like, you know, fit with the overarching theme, yes. Uniquely, you can kind of imagine that. Broad enough, you know, broad enough to be able to come at it from numerous angles. Edgy enough. We've already talked about, but the middle one about events, maybe a little tricky. So this is what we mean by events. We also would sit down with the themes, and we had there's three major events within each month, right? In every single month when you chart this out, this is really nuts and bolts, folks. So I'm going to go quick, but I hope you get, so, you know, in January there, or let's say, wait a minute. Can you see? I don't want you to see. February. In February, right? In February, there are significant cultural, you know, events. Valentine's. There's significant church events. Maybe that's when you do your canvas drive, or for us, it was with Susan B. Anthony's birthday, or you know. And then there's significant religious events that are connected to us all. Let's say a major might be Lent. You know, so this is more, you see the distinctions? Internal, church, country, and religion. Well then, you put this out. Well look, in February it's the budget drive. Oh my God, look, it's also Valentine's Day and Lincoln's birthday. Oh crud, it's also Lent and it's Susan B. Anthony's birthday. Oh, there's no way we could find a theme that fit all those. Devotion. You know, so it takes some work, but I guarantee you this also, besides that theological thing, Charlie, our team did, maybe we were weird. We loved this stuff.
Like a puzzle.
We loved this stuff. And all of a sudden then in the summer, I mean, I'll grant, we did it down in a cabin next to Canandaigua Lake, maybe with a little bit of wine as a staff team, but
Not a bad way.
but this got us excited. Right? Because then we look forward like, oh my God, devotion. Now I'm suddenly excited about Valentine's Day. Lent now is just, maybe I do want to, and then already I'm going to bring Lent into, you know, I mean, it suddenly got you excited about things in a whole new way. That's what the hoop of make sure it fits with the events. And this gets at Carlos's question. This is another thing that will ensure that when you get to that month, you won't be running into something that trips you up. So you have to do this work ahead of time, but I promise you it'll be fun.